Hey everybody, happy Monday. It's Alexis with Create Your Future, and I am back with a brand new video, a new success story. And today I'm going to be talking about the basics of manifesting your reality, the basics of reality creation, and how we can recreate any situation, anyone, turn things around, create them, and make them manifest them into your favor. How we do that. Basic video, but it's not basic because this information is super cool. Before I get started, like always, the links for booking one-on-one coaching, one-on-one hypnosis, courses, audios from me are in the box below. All right. So I thought it's the dawn of a new year. I have a lot of clients that are working on recreating people, recreating situations, and there are some misconceptions, thoughts about how you do it, what's going on here. So I had a client success story come in. Let's use her as an example, and then I will dive into what your reality is, how we recreate it, what did she do, etc. Okay. And this is a good one, you guys, because it does involve a third party, and it does involve, I'm seeing something else come in at the same time here. Okay. It does involve a third party, excuse me. It does involve a third party. It involves changing concept of self, changing people, and then how the concepts that I told her, how they really helped, and then the whole thing, all of that. Okay. So, dear Alexis, thank you so much for your session with me yesterday. Thank you so much for your sessions with me recently, for holding my hand, listening to me cry, and also telling me to go get a Kleenex when was necessary. You are an angel and you have the patience of a goddess. I so appreciate you. Just to let the people who listen to my success story know, when I first met my specific person, everything with us was going great. So she had known her SP when she came to coaching for about 5 years. So at first he was hot and heavy for me. He was doing all the things for me. He took me out to dinner. He took me out on multiple dates. He took me to the movies. She goes into some details about some other things. Trying to sum it up, right? And then by the time I met Alexis, everything had changed. She was treating me differently. We had been through multiple breakups. He was giving me hot and cold behavior. And all I was experiencing was the version of him I didn't want. I had been doing conscious manifesting, but then the more that I began to peel apart the layers of the onion, as Alexis called it, in my mind, in my focus, and in what was going on, I began to realize that there was so much that I hadn't been focusing on, and that my attention and my focus had actually been on the wrong things, even though I was doing it correctly. Once Alexis gave me the appropriate intentions, the appropriate focus, and she told me exactly how to do the mental diet, I felt like I was so empowered. I had all of the options in the world, and that I could actually finally tackle the situation, which was actually tackling, she puts it, in myself. The way that Alexis really helped me was breaking down how our reality is created, the constructs of our reality, and how our thoughts create. That it was always me, my subconscious mind, creating things differently and focusing on it. Thank you so much. I will see you soon for another success story. I so appreciate you. XOXO. Okay. So what I realized, you guys, is that she didn't put in there a lot of the things that changed. Okay. So like she had said, though, when she had met her specific person, things were going great. And I see this with a lot of people, that there's communication, there's dates, there's like, they went to the movies, they had great intimacy, they were so connected. But then once she liked him, once she got comfortable, it was like everything began to fall apart. So by the time she came to coaching, they were like seeing each other, but there were third parties. There were actually, in this case, multiple third parties. And she found some objects that were from some of the third parties that we found out were from before. Okay, there's a lot of information here. I am trying to condense it into the video. So that's what was going on, right? And she came to coaching and she said, okay, I'm doing a bunch of affirmations. I am focusing on I am chosen, I am pursued, I am loved, I am adored. She had like a laundry list of things that she was focusing on. And I said, okay, now that's great. But are we changing the story on him? And are we focusing that things can be better than ever now, that he's taking me out again, he's showing me off, he's telling everybody about me, he loves me so much? Are we thinking that? And she said, well, I've been trying to. And she said, basically what I'm doing is trying to keep my mind clear, for the mental diet. And I said, oh, okay. So is that what you think the mental diet is? Do you think that the mental diet is just keeping the mind clear? She said, well, yeah, I mean, isn't that what it is? And I said, well, yes, well, no. not really. I said we do want to keep the mind clear from thoughts of apathy, self-despair, thinking that the end of the world is happening, that there's no hope in the future, that nothing good is going to be happening, that everything has gone badly. Like general concepts, we do want to keep the mind clear of. And I want to say too, if you're experiencing a lot of stories about things out in the 3D reality that are like that, like, I am not trying to create this, but if you are hearing things about end times, the COVID story, that things are all over, like there's no hope, the economy, I also want to encourage you to keep your mind clear, yes, of those things. Keep the mind clear of those things, like when other people talk about it. Hold on to the feeling, the sensation, and the thought of hope, faith, a brighter future. Let's all unite in this together for a brighter, better future, things working out, and that we are abundant and prosperous as individuals, that your abundance and prosperity is not reliant on things outside of you. Okay, so that's a little bit of a tangent that's off topic, but since she was saying keeping the mind clear, my advice is this: keep your mind clear of self-apathy, self-despair, that there's no point to things, that like life isn't worth living, right? Life is so difficult. There's, when's the shoe going to drop, right? When someone in your reality says something like that, just say, oh, doesn't apply to me. And you don't even have to defend or prove. And the best thing to do is not have to depend on others for yourself. Maybe that's what I was thinking. To defend or prove yourself with anything, right? It's having the internal conversation of, I am moving forwards. My life is moving forwards. I'm having faith. I'm having hope. Everything is working out for me. I'm inserting this just because of some things that I have noticed that are common themes with people that I've talked to. So if that resonates with you, if it doesn't, then trash it. No big deal. But in general, you want to keep the mind clear of those things. We want to be holding on to that everything is working out, the thought that everything is working out, and that we have hope and faith in the whole process of creating your reality. Now, the thing is this though, you guys, your reality is, yes, created by you. The thing that I think confuses a lot of people with specific people like this person, in terms of relationships and people, recreating the ideal version of people, getting it going, getting it to stick, is the thought transmission piece. So let's talk about what thought transmission is. And in a lot of videos, right, I have said that your thoughts go from the front of your mind to the back of your head out to your reality. Mainly though, to keep it simple, that is true, but your reality is a construct of your subconscious mind. It is a construct of what you're telling yourself is going on and what thoughts are solidifying, because your subconscious mind is 90 to 95% of your whole being of who you are. It is orchestrated by your conscious thinking. So unfortunately, most of us have been fed limiting beliefs, limiting ideas, limiting thoughts that come in to the subconscious through your conscious mind. You take them in as fact, then you harden them into fact in the projection of your reality, because your reality is projected like onto a screen of space, as Neville Goddard says, but it projects out from within you. So make this easy on yourself, right? Like with this client, I said, okay, so we need to focus on basic things like he's taking me out, he only wants me, he chooses me. Now, those three thoughts are generally hard for people to think because the person currently isn't doing that, right? So if that's you, I want to say, well, welcome. And you can do it, because that's 90% of people who are trying to transform with their thinking, changing their reality vis-a-vis their thoughts about a specific person. You guys aren't alone. I'm telling everybody that in session all the time. I've always said that. I wish that people who are doing one-on-one coaching could like meet each other, because most people feel very alone and very unheard and very alone or lonely in the process of reality creation, because people outside of them in their realities oftentimes aren't agreeing that people create their reality. So if that's you, we have so many videos. I have so many videos on my playlist about creating your reality, and let's recreate the people support you, and that you're projecting again into your subconscious, which is a movie that people at least appreciate reality creation. They accept it, they get it, and that they're intrigued. Just an idea. Okay. Like, what's interesting about that whole thing is that before I had met my husband, I had identified within myself that I thought that there were aspects of what I believe spiritually were kind of odd or weird. Well, I changed that. I decided, okay, I think that it's amazing. Everyone loves what I do. So then guess what? When I met my SP, who is my husband, he just thinks the world of everything I've ever studied, all of my perspectives. He fully knows that I do SP coaching. By the way, I've been asked that a lot. Like, you know, what do you think of people finding out about SP, right? Well, when you're a specific person, everyone has an SP, right? But I walk around calling him his name and that he's my husband, not like he's an SP as in it's a thing of lack. He's a special person, specific person, same thing. But now he just thinks the world of it. Like if he were to sit here, he's not in my office, but if he were to sit here and listen to my video afterwards, he probably like give me a high five or be like, babe, it's so awesome. I love that, because I decided to love that about myself. So guess what? I project it out into my reality. It isn't a thing of chance. And it really isn't some of these more wonderful things that's like, oh, he's so supportive and he's so wonderful. It's like, yes, he is, because I am supportive and I am wonderful to myself about myself. And then therefore he agrees with it. And it's part of the creation. Do you see what I'm saying? Like in your reality, people are separate, but within you, you create who they are showing up as. They are a projection of your movie. They are a projection of your inner consciousness, your inner subconscious, and who you hold yourself to be, who you hold them to be. Now, the thing that I didn't do as an example of myself with my career, coaching, etc., I didn't ever think everyone loves what I do. Everyone loves what I do. They all love it. In the absence of me thinking that I love what I do and that I think it's amazing and that I think it's cool. I was first and foremost the foundation of that, right? So the way that we recreate things in people is recreating who you are in the scenario. You have to do that. It is 1,000% necessary. And then recreating who they are. You just do both. I have each client, every client always do both, because your reality begins with you. And you want to be thinking that I am the center of my reality. This is my reality. And that you came into a physical body to play it out with people, right? Most of us have people that we're recreating, changing, focusing on, because you came into the human experience to experience things differently. And on the human plane, there are like other humans. That's what they are. Okay. So instead of thinking, is thought transmission working? How many affirmations do I have to think for them to think the thoughts, right? It's not really about that. It's inundating your subconscious mind with enough thoughts that the people who are part of your subconscious mind play out differently, right? So affirming for what they are, who they're showing up as persistently. It's not allowing something that they do, like this client. It was like, you guys, and she would agree with me, this client, everything the SP did bothered her. Like he couldn't really even go to the store and like buy bananas or buy anything because he didn't buy them at the right price. Like everything that he did ticked her off. Okay. Now I said to her, you have got to control your reactions because you're creating more of the same. I said, is there anything he ever does that makes you happy? She said, well, to be honest, like, I mean, I've been doing all these affirmations and I've been focusing on myself. So it's like a couple times a week he'll do something, but most of the time I'm just irritated, frustrated. It's like everything he does is wrong. And I said, okay, well, the more that we think, the more that we are just frustrated, irritated, and annoyed, we're not thinking about what we want, because our emotions tell us where our thoughts are and they show us what's happening in the movie. Okay. Like if you're irritated and annoyed by what's happening or frustrated out there, really bring it back to like, okay, number one, why am I so annoyed? Why am I so frustrated? If being annoyed, being frustrated, being irritated gets us nowhere, like it doesn't make more beautiful, amazing things happen. Like number one, what's the point, right? So ask yourself, like, what's the point? Number two, it's contradictory to what you're manifesting. Because if you had what you wanted, and if you were in the empowerment that it's happening, you probably wouldn't be as annoyed. You probably wouldn't be irritated. Either way, you guys, we have to quell and quiet down, move through these emotions. It's not to say when you are annoyed or frustrated, angry, irritated at them, it isn't to get mad at yourself and then want to like stop it, because that creates resistance. It doesn't work. It is just thinking, okay, where are my thoughts at? What am I focusing on? Like, what am I thinking? Where is my mental diet? Okay. Like this client did. I encourage you to keep the mind clear of general negative things. Like I'm saying here, negative emotions, negative social concepts, right? Keep the mind clear of those. Tell yourself, those don't apply to me. That happened to them, doesn't apply to me. What we don't want to do is take everything personally, is like every single aspect in your 3D reality, take it so personally that we go to like, I created this, I create all of this, this is so bad. That won't get you anywhere either, right? Do what's manageable, which is managing your thoughts, managing your thinking, managing what you're affirming in the mind about people that are in your experience, in your awareness, right? Changing it that way, because you can change anything about everybody. It just takes persistence, consistency, and diligence with what you're thinking, what you're affirming, who you're deciding that they are is the other thing. Like you get to decide who the people are in the movie. That is your life. It is just a projection of how you've thought things go. Now you are the biggest equation. Like I've said earlier in this video and in every video, you are the biggest equation to that. So we have to have, you have the self-concept that is confident and have self-esteem. Now I've seen people though, who have that also still having an ability to think that they have to focus on changing thoughts of the person. If you want someone to change in your reality, you have to think differently about them. You have to think differently and not be triggered. Be like less triggered by the things that they do, by the things going on. Be less affected, be less bothered, be less irritated, less annoyed. Say something else, do something else like, oh, okay. Come back to what you're thinking, back to yourself, back to being that in your reality. That will also get you to move things along so much quicker, right? And it's not to say that understanding your own patterns, understanding how you create things isn't helpful, but we want to go for the solution, right? So to sum it up in this video, it's that your mind is the creator of all things. Your subconscious mind, that is 90 to 95% of you, is what projects into your reality. Now, what is held in the movie of the subconscious mind is created and constructed by what you've allowed in and what you've thought about repetitively. Oh, right. I should offer in and say in here, right, that I'm a certified hypnotherapist and I offer hypnosis, which a lot of clients have found helpful with specific people and with self-concept to get into the feelings, into the creation of the reality that they want through using hypnotherapy. And this client, we did a combination of both. So we did some hypnosis. We did, obviously we did coaching. I know about her whole story, but you have to do both. Hypnosis isn't one and done where it's like, then you don't have to watch your thoughts, monitor your thoughts, create things anew. It's a tool that we insert, that we use to influence the subconscious mind directly. Okay. So this is all possible, but it takes getting out of your own way, right? Regulating emotions, regulating reactions in terms of not overly reacting to people, or if you do have some kind of reaction to something, not telling yourself the story that I'm so bad I reacted, but learning how to regulate your emotions, learning how to be in control of what you're thinking, in control of your mind, because it inevitably always moment to moment influences your subconscious. Like this is how things are. It can be this simple. It is this simple. And if you think of it that way, like, oh, so my movie, my reality comes from me. What I'm thinking about it right now influences it. And that means I can change it. Isn't that so exciting? Because you can have, be, or do anything that you want. You just need to have the appropriate influence on yourself, influence yourself differently, think about yourself differently. Now, something that I had this client do was I had her change thoughts about something that was like an issue she had. She had perpetual insomnia. Okay. And I said, well, could we start thinking that you're sleeping deeply before you go to bed, and to add that in as something that's not your specific person and that's not even about a person, but about you? Can we change your thoughts about it? Change what you're thinking, change what you're affirming, change what you're deciding. And you guys, guess what? In 2 weeks, the insomnia stopped because she had influenced her mind to think differently. Therefore, the subconscious that runs insomnia, runs sleeping, and runs the ability to fall asleep, it changed. Now, if that isn't a full-blown success story, I don't know what is, but please use this to anything. Isn't that crazy? It still boggles my mind. And I've been doing this work for a very long time, that you can influence yourself to change anything, because the only person that you're convincing is you. and then it implements it into the subconscious, and then it projects it, or you feel it, you experience it exponentially, like she experienced sleeping deeply, sleeping the whole night. And that was part of her movie that she's the player in, her consciousness and her physical body. All right, so this video became totally something that it wasn't intended to be, but I intend that for you it is magic, and that for you it helps everything come together, and that you are flying into the week feeling light, wonderful, in control of what you're thinking, because that is necessary to create your reality. Okay, so go out, make today awesome, have fun, celebrate yourself, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.